In this hour, we want to talk about by-elections, the budget versus the will of the people. And to help us have that conversation, we have the National Coordinator, Free Kenya Movement, Felix Wambua. Felix, welcome to Radio Generation.
Asante.
We also do have the Secretary General, Western Professionals Caucus, that is WEPROC, Newton Khamasi. Newton, karibu sana to Radio Generation.
Asante sana.
Let us first of all start with Mr. Wambua here. I hosted one of your members last week. He was one of the people who were stuck in Uganda. I don't want to call him an abductee, but he was stuck. And Free Kenya Movement, obviously, what is your purpose? What is the ideology behind Free Kenya Movement?
I just want to interject here.
Yeah.
There's a pun here which is not intended.
Mm-hmm.
Free Kenya Movement.
Yeah.
So those Kenyans moved freely into Uganda.
Yeah.
And then the free movement ceased. I thought I would just mention that. Please go on.
Yeah, we thought it's going to be a free East Africa region. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm Felix Wambua,
Yes.
the National Coordinator, Free Kenya Movement.
Yes.
And being here is a great opportunity to speak to Kenyans, to speak to you, because many are confused. Maybe they came to know about Free Kenya Movement after the incidents of it's not being stuck, but they were being held incommunicado.
I was being very
call
careful.
it what it is.
I was being careful with my words.
It was an abduction, and
I still want to go to Uganda.
It was a crime against humanity that happened in the Ugandan soil.
Yeah.
We are a team of young people that are seeking to bring up alternative leadership.
Okay.
And it's a timely topic that we are going to be having today.
Okay.
Because most of our members, most of the young people, most of the marginalized groups, when it comes to seeking elective positions, they tend to be taking the back seats.
Okay.
But when it comes to going to the streets, they come in numbers.
Yeah.
So we want now to move from the streets now to the leadership positions.
So Free Kenya Movement is a political party.
It isn't a political party.
Okay.
It is a caucus. It's like an umbrella that brings together young people and people that are not in any political party, that is partyless. We want to encourage a third force that is going to be different from political parties, because there are many ways that have been given by our constitution on how you can vie, on how you can make it to the parliament, to the senate, or even to the county assembly through nomination by a party or by contesting in a party or even contesting as an independent candidate. So for us, we are backing up the independents.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wambua.
Thank you.
Newton, WEPROC. What is WEPROC all about?
Thank you very much for having me here. First of all, it's a very big pleasure sitting in a conversation with City Muga. I have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Because for the last few years, I've really been following his interviews and his hosts. And I have to say, every time we have our kikao as gentlemen who are forward-thinking, we usually say, when you're invited with this man, you have to be prepared.
So you are prepared, that is what you're saying.
Yes, and today being here, I feel like it's a pleasure, a really big pleasure. Being here with him, and it really means a lot.
Karibu sana.
Thank you. So basically, WEPROC. WEPROC is a caucus that brings together professionals, basically from the Western region, but across the country. Because if you notice,
Please explain that. Western region, then across the country.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So Western region, I mean, like we have our roots in the Western region.
Yes.
But we occupy different professional spaces across the country. That is in Mombasa, in Meru, in Kirinyaga, in Kisumu, Nakuru, and back also in Kakamega and Bungoma. So basically, it was a conversation to bring together mind-changing individuals, like people who have good vision for the country, but coming from, who have the roots from the Western region, so that we can come together and inspire the country through our own ways as a caucus, but as well also inspire the people from the Western region, so that we can bring in the expansive view of a country from our own angle as the Western professionals.
So who qualifies as a profession in WEPROC?
So who qualifies as a profession in WEPROC is an individual who has a gift or has a profession, is a specific profession in a particular field. You're a doctor, you're an accountant, you've gone past your Form 4 level. But also we are going to the extent of including the people who have just done the small, like the plumbing component. Because you see, these are professional in their own space, and the skills matter, because where we are going as a world is you're going into a skill improved society, whereby if you don't have skills, then you will not be accommodated. Therefore, the WEPROC organization is welcoming to anyone who has a skill in a particular space and who can change the world from wherever they are.
All right. Now we understand who we are, who you are rather, and we understand by extension who we are talking to. So let's start the conversation. There's a lot of politics happening right now in the country, and unfortunately it's been happening even since before and after the last election. And we are a country that is always politicking. Personally, I have a problem with that, because I realize that we do more of politics than talking about development and how we can uplift people in WEPROC, people in the Free Kenya movement. So Wambua, if I can start with you, perhaps you can let us know your perspective on that, and perhaps some of the things that you can point out and how we can change into becoming a more productive society away from politics, because everything nowadays is about politics.
Yeah, politics shapes our lives, and everything that we do as a country, as a nation, as a region, is just within the confines of politics. Everything that we do, it's so sad that as a country we are ever in the mood of campaigns. We never graduate maybe from campaigning to serving the nation after the swearing in, and the institutions that are mandated to take control of these are failing Kenyans, because we may excuse IEBC when it was there was vacuum in its leadership, but on coming to space, politics are even heating up. The political space is becoming even hotter and more aggressive. This raises questions on the competence of this body, because now we have seen what has happened since then to now. We have the by-elections and questions in every village, in every town, in every slum are like, when shall we have SHA working? When shall we have the issue of education sorted for those at campus? When shall we have jobs created? When shall we have policies that create an environment that can give young people, young investors, young talented men thrive in their own spaces? This is a behavior, it's an habit within the political elites. Once one loses, they will start causing trouble here and there, maybe for handshake, maybe for a coalition, maybe for something, so that they may have a take in that government. Yeah, even say it broad-based, louder, because we want to change this narrative, and it has to be gradual.
How do you want to change it?
As Free Kenya movement, we want everything to be people-centered. People-centered means that if there is any project, it's not a tool for campaign. It is something that is going to be handled by the people themselves from the ground. If it is a project, there must be people, let's call it public participation. Down there in the villages, down there in the slums, people will will suggest on what project they want. And the very people will have their own committees down there who can assess on what amounts.
You know, I'm going to interrupt you, and for a very good
Thank
reason.
you. Okay.
I have followed what you people say, but more importantly, what you do.
Sure.
And your thinking is right. Your heart is in the right place.
Sure.
Do you know that old men like myself talk? We lead political parties, but the people who energize our parties are you people.
I agree with you.
So, what business do you have following old people like myself? What business do you have repeating the things that old people like myself in politics say all the time? And they've been saying it since independence, and you can see the result of it. And then,
Sidi, there are just a few of you, people of your caliber, that have your thinking. Most of those old men are not as wise as you are.
You, my friend, let me speak in Kiswahili. Unanipaka siari. You want to move me from the trajectory of what I'm saying. There's something I'm saying here. You see, it is an honor and an opportunity when we have people who are youthful,
sure,
and who are engaged in change. It is an honor because you clearly want to see something different, but it won't happen because when you speak, it tells me how you think. And you cannot think like us. You cannot follow the scripts that we follow because those are the scripts that have landed us where we are now. And those scripts don't bring about change. They do not. There is something that needs to be understood about a constitution like ours and the very advent of the rights that are enshrined in
the
it.
Constitution.
It is one word: accountability.
Sure.
You, the energizer of these processes, are the best place to bring about accountability, but it can't start unless you have it within your own organizations and you have it so that it's something that people see you practicing. Why am I saying this? Right now, these by-elections that we have, the people we find in those crowds are young.
Very young.
The goons for hire are young.
Are young.
Everything about an election has to do with people who are youthful. Now, that's your constituency. Now, tell me, how are you going to change this constituency?
That is what is hailing us as young people, because as you have great thoughts, when you try to dispense them to your peers, for them, they are after the short-term benefits. They are not seeing the greater picture that you're trying to paint for them.
You must get them to see it. You know why? It's not as though they can't see it.
Sure.
We have polluted those waters so much so that people even believe you can't bring about change, and yet you can.
We can. But it has to be gradual.
I'm interested in Newton's point of view on that particular issue.
No, basically, let me just take you back to where you started. Politicking is not bad. I'm so proud of Kenya because in Kenya we politic. Any nation that does not politic, things go bad. But every country that politic every day, it's a country that is very progressive. I'll give you an example. What happened in Tanzania, on a neighboring country, the other day, is so shocking to the world, even to the Tanzanian people. And yet, to us Kenya, that is just a drop. Because you have been very progressive. And you see, when you're progressive and you politic, you enhance your systems to a level where, as a country, you don't just do things because they're being done. You do them with an objective that you want to achieve. The progress we are in is maybe without harming their image. Tanzania is where we were in 1963, probably. Like where we are right now as a country.
In terms of our politics.
Yes.
In their politics, sorry.
Their politics is so behind than where we are. And that is progress.
Okay.
If you look at the United States, they have really enriched their political space in that you can see the systems working. And it took time for them to work. And the only way things will work is when people talk and politic about it. The only problem I have with the Kenyan politics is we try to paint politics as a very bad thing that people should not get involved in.
Sure.
You get me? And that should be something that we need to really, really address and tell people, politic, day in, day out, don't stop. Even in our own homes, we have politics. In the morning and in the evening, every day, every single moment. Even in our workspaces, we have politics going on every day. So the moment you tell people, or a community, or let's say like a country now, the citizens, that politicking is wrong, then you try to turn them away from addressing their concerns and the people in leadership positions trying to solve those problems. So to me, my view is, let us politic. It is what makes a country's growth more healthier, more inclusive, and we enhance our governance structures the moment we proceed with that.
I actually agree with you. Perhaps what we need to distinguish then is the brand of politics that we are having. The brand of politics whereby people, certain people who hold a certain political view are not allowed to express it. The politics whereby we have now what we're talking about, the oppression, what he's talking about. The brand of politics whereby there is authoritarianism, nuanced in the way that we run our politics. And then the kind of politics whereby we actually deceive the citizenry. And when I say deceive, I mean all politicians. I'm not pointing to a specific one, because we know the president has been called names, but he is not the only one who stands at podiums and then says things and then goes ahead and does something completely different. So perhaps then that's the kind of politics that we need. If you look at the example you just gave us about, for instance, in America, very progressive indeed. And those guys they politic every single day.
Yes.
And it is a career, right?
Yes.
But when you look at how they do the things, for example, what is currently happening in the US about the Epstein files, they have gotten to a point whereby the president literally is on his knees because of what? Because the system has forced him to do what the Constitution actually says that he should do. Yes. But when we look at our African countries and the countries we've mentioned, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, for instance, that is not the case.
But you see, that's why I've told you, it takes time to build these things.
How much time?
It takes as much time as possible. We cannot limit, because you see, like the United States,
and time?
In terms of years, it will take maybe 100 years. But at least as Kenya, we are in the progress of it. Okay? Because if you look at the United States, the systems are working now because of the timeline.
They fine-tune them over time.
Exactly. Good things take time. And City will tell you that. Wisdom. And I'll pick into what he was probably saying. Why is it that as young people, we want to entrust them and to follow the political parties that are led by their caliber? It's simple. I don't have the experience that City has. I could not even imagine of having the experience that Raila Amolo Odinga, the late, had. I would not even imagine having the experience that Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi has. So it is just a natural occurrence that we have to obey and follow a particular path for us to gain the experience we require, for us to be able to be given the mantle to take over and to take charge of it. Then again, there's just something you've mentioned about the truths and the deceiving in the political space.
Yes.
Who has this measure?
Truth meter.
The truth meter of what is true and what is false.
Okay.
In politics, what I've been able to decipher is that in politics, whatever everyone is saying has some truth and has some lies.
Okay.
No one will say the truth 100%. No one will say the lies 100%.
Okay.
The thing is, you mix the two to make your agenda forward, to see your agenda forward.
But come again, you do what? The truth?
You mix the truth.
Okay.
Because you see, what you do is you will put some truths. And that is the game of politics.
Yep.
Because politics is just playing around with people's minds.
Actually,
but
no, it isn't.
It is.
I want him to finish his definition.
It is.
Okay, he has stopped me from
No. And then
from short-circuiting you. So please continue.
No, it's okay. I want you to finish your definition.
You see, a politician has two objectives. One is, first of all, his selfish interest to be elected or to be in a position of power. That is every politician's thoughts and ideas. Okay, or wish to achieve. Two, this politician has to satisfy the needs of his people. So he has to balance between the two needs.
Okay.
His personal needs and the needs of the people that he's going to represent. So these people, most of them, if you study about the political psychology of people who go and vote and people who participate in this politics, you realize that they are aligned to some particular ideology. Example, the Kenyan politics is completely tribal. Before everybody thinks about anything of development, they will think of huyu jamaa anatoka wapi.
Okay.
Is he from my own ethnicity? That is what informs their decision. So even if you go and tell them whatever you're telling them, first of all, you have to define where you're coming from. And if they agree with your thoughts of where you're coming from, then the other bit will be now you to play around with the thoughts because it is politics.
All right.
Yes.
Pause on that particular note. Wambua.
Thank you. When my brother Newton talks of years to come, that's when we shall be maybe where US is. To be, I want to allude to the children of Israel, from Egypt to Canaan, taking 40 years, yet today, either by road, by air, by sea, cannot take even a week.
But it was symbolic.
It was symbolic. I just want to bring you to your point.
Yes.
There's a reason why God let them wander in that, wilderness.
The things that are happening today,
yes,
it's just confusion within ourselves. As City had tried to show me.
CD is a compact disc.
Sorry for that. I apologize, sir. We know what is right. We know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But we are not doing it as a people. When you hear our president trying to say that he wants to make Kenya another Singapore, some years back we were at the same level of development, but what went wrong on our side, what punctured our vehicle that was taking us to our destiny, to the future that we wanted, to the future that our forefathers had foreseen when they went to the bush to fight for the independence. We are becoming more of copying others than trying to like come up with our own ways, our original, our something unique that we want us to let us write our manuscript to where we want to be tomorrow.
So we forget about Singapore and Malaysia and China. We just focus.
Correct. Because if we are to look at Singapore in terms of natural wealth and Kenya, we are far much ahead. Just that manpower, the human labor, cannot be trusted with some of these things that we want to achieve.
Okay.
That's why even now, as I get back to our theme for today, our elections are even becoming so expensive because we don't trust even our own companies. These things should be printed at River Road down there, but we do not trust our own. Why? We missed a mark somewhere.
Okay.
As we were moving from colonialism to self-independence, to multipartyism. After multipartyism, the 2010 constitution. After the what has been transpiring in between? Mistrust is every day. We have been coming up with a contested election, post-election violence. How does that come to end, or how is it resolved? Talk of Tanzania, their journey to where they are, and compare it with us. We cannot compare, or we cannot go to contest with Tanzania in terms of levels of democracy. Their space is just now. They are just trying to wake up.
Okay.
For us, we are supposed to make sure that, much as we say we are the capital city of Africa, much as we say that Nairobi is the tower of the region, we must also show that not only in terms of development, even democratic space should be shining more, should be expanding every day, and that things to do with suppressing the dissenting voices should not be something to be talked of in the Kenya of today.
And Newton, in your organization, WEPROC, how are you holding the leaders in your area to account? Because we have always talked about the way the leaders are the ones who are messing up, they're screwing up, but one conversation we also refuse to have is how we are holding them to account and making sure that they do exactly what we mandated them to do through our constitution. So, and if there's nothing that is being done, what are plans towards this particular cause?
Thank you very much. Now, first of all, just before I go there, there is something that my colleague here alluded to, and I really, really want to enhance on it. Our president talks of us being like Singapore, but he talks about it with a specific angle and with a blind eye on another.
Okay.
If you look at Singapore, they don't have democracy. The way of leadership is different from how Kenya runs. And when the president talks about Singapore, I fear for my country, because probably maybe he's thinking of bringing that authoritarianism in a way that now as a country, we will have to align to one person and one person forever.
Okay.
The democracy will be killed. Because for you to achieve some things, it will not be easy if you don't have an authoritarian governance style of leadership. Because in Singapore,
and that is the only way to achieve it.
That is not the only way.
Oh, okay.
But where there is space of democracy, the speed will not be the same.
Okay.
It will be at least slower because you have to include everyone's thoughts.
All right.
Something that is not available in Kenya. So
Carry on, yeah.
in regards to what as WEPROC we're doing, I'll just mention a few. One is most of the leaders that you see in the political spaces from the Western region are members of the WEPROC community. But we have had a challenge where you realize that when they get into these positions, they work on their own. They're here as a community, as WEPROC,
Yeah.
as professionals, but whenever they get into these spaces of leadership or they get appointed, they get elected, there is a mind shift. They realize that, nimefika, and I don't need to align with these other things. That is why under WEPROC, we try to enhance impact through our small spaces. We don't want to depend on the positions that government, someone who is in government, someone who is in this, will come back and help. No. We enhance on enhancing impact from our angle as professionals in our own spaces. I'll give you an example like myself.
Yes.
Like myself, I have intentionally picked the education sector as a core pillar that I can enhance in my own strengths to ensure that I create impact in my country beyond my other activities. So as a country and as a professionals, like Western professionals, we enhance our members, not to really depend on the members who get positions in the political space. No. In your own space as a professional, as a businessman, do things that can impact the community in a more way that is going to be more impactful than just us sitting and waiting for someone to get a political, because all those people who have gotten political appointments, they have ended up disappointing the community or the professional space from Western region very big time.
Okay.
But with this angle of us looking at it from the impact perspective, do it from your own space. What can you achieve as a professional to be able to impact the space that you're in rather than waiting for the political space? Because if we change the mindset of not depending on people who get into political space to come and help us, because that is where the challenge is. I get elected as a member of parliament. My constituents want me to come and save their problems, solve all their problems, which should not be the case. We should send in a member of parliament or a president, or even, yes, they come from maybe the Western Professionals Caucus, but as they are going there, let us remove the mindset of they are going there to come and save our problems or solve our problems or address our challenges 100%. They will not, because they'll go there, they have the national interest in their on their agenda. Therefore, bringing this interest or solving your problems as maybe the people of Western or the people from Central Kenya is not going to happen. That is why you realize that most people who get elected, they don't get re-elected. Because when you get elected, you have some expectations from your constituents that are unbearable, that you cannot even achieve to solve them.
All right.
Yes.
When you talk about the politics that is expressed and is envisioned in our country, and we talk about the leadership in these political processes, the narrative that is dominant seems to be one where people bring about what they consider to be their brand of change and their brand of processes that will bring about this change. Now, let me ask the question. In the conversations that the two of you have, where do you place the process of getting people to understand with enormous clarity the power of the Constitution that the Constitution gives them, how that power can be exercised, and how that power can collectively be used to actually ensure that the resources of the nation, that is Kenya, is divided equitably for them? One. Two, that when it is divided, it is actually utilized for the purposes that it was intended. Three, that the purposes are, as you people have alluded to, people-driven, where it is the people who have told you what it is that they wanted, so it is applied to those purposes. How much time how much energy do you allocate to getting people to understand this? I ask this question for a simple reason. If they understand it, then it'll be easy for them to determine whom they should elect.
Sure.
Now, with whatever you have said, I'll take you back to during the Gen Z protests. If you have a very clear recollection, you will see that there was a generational change, a conversational change. Because one, these young people, they came out and said, we are first of all leaderless. Because what was driving them was this document called the Constitution of Kenya. They came forth and said, look, this is what we are, this is our defender. This is the document that we are relying on. Two, they said we are leaderless because the Kenyan politics is so selfish. That's why I said people think of themselves first before they think of the people. And therefore, when the people came and went to the streets, they had one agenda. Look, we don't have a leader. And it is not about one person. It is not about what our leader says. It is about what we want. And you can see the impact that had. They pushed until that finance bill was set aside. That is a form of participatory politics that the Kenyan generation is slowly but quickly adjusting into it. And I'm telling you this, in the near future, which is just like 2027 and even the by-elections that are coming up, City, the decisions Kenyans are going to make are not the decisions that anyone expects. A very good example.
What you're saying is aspirational, really, but yes, it has a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
The Gen Zs did not invent change, neither are they doing something that hasn't been done before.
Yes.
Mao, the people who were in the forest were not old men, they were young people.
Very true.
The second liberation that you spoke of that gave birth to this constitution
was done by young men.
It was young people.
Yes.
They were not old people.
Right.
And it was at a time when we were a single party state. Believe me, it is nothing that these Gen Zs have seen.
Yes.
The law was on the side of the executive. You could disappear and that would be it. Nobody would ever be taken. Yes, nobody would ever be taken to court. There was no NGO that is going to, nothing. That was it. You could be detained. The law allowed for some of those things.
Yes.
But yet, they stuck their necks and said, we understand, but this is the position we are going to take. The Gen Zs have built on something that others had also built on, what others before them had built.
Yes.
This is collective. Now, the word collective is what defines politics.
Yes.
If it isn't collective, and if it isn't a decision that arrives at that equitable distribution of resources. You see, the politics that we see is a politics that is practiced when there is conflict or when there's a war.
Sure.
Because now you're talking about division of power, you talk about authority, you talk about influence. So we have brought in politics that only happens when, say, there's a world war or something. Because who do you exactly? Who do you decide? Who do you side with when you're this? Because everything you've said defines our politics in the way that I've said it. It is assumed that because we have counties, we are doing we actually not. The Constitution demands it, but if you look at our Parliament and the executive, they keep peeling back the gains that the Constitution sought to bring about. The county system is a system of government. It wasn't intended to be some small child who is always waiting for their father to give them some goodies for them to run. They are a government. They were supposed to actually be the pillars on which this economy is based. But in the absence of understanding who fits that role, we elect people who by their very presence, the majority, not all, tell you that they're incompetent to even run the county. They're completely incompetent. And then you go to Parliament, the most educated Parliament we've had since independence. I feel we made a mistake when we made it a budget-making Parliament.
Yeah.
Because with our politics of influence and power, suddenly they knew that everybody has to come to them.
Yes.
So it's like they are an executive in and of themselves, and yet their role, according to the Constitution, is not that. Now, my question to you had been, when you see this and you have a caucus,
yes,
what is it that you people are discussing that is different from what we already see? And how is it that we know that you're going to bring about the change? Because everything I'm hearing, there will be no change. You will speak the way we speak, and then you'll elect the same old thugs and crooks and ne'er-do-wells and incompetents. That's what we will do.
You know, City.
I wanted to come in. Sorry, my brother Nathan.
Okay.
You know, the funny thing is that all these organized groups, they end up being like compromised, because we are out here as Free Kenya movement to speak on the rights of people according to the constitution. My brother from WEPROC, they have good ideas. Their objectives are very clear, but at the end of the day, they have to mention Mudavadi somewhere. They have to mention one of their key people in that community, and those are the people that are contaminating our ideas. Because as much as we are disintegrated groups, different factions, we have different ideas. We need to have a convergence point, my brother. The whole country, all young people. There are many groups in this country. If you talk of Free Kenya movement, there's Kongamano, there is this team led by Boniface Mwangi, there is our brother Nganga, who is advocating for constitution to be taught at school. Those are the things that we need to work as a team to ensure that they actualize and that goal is achieved. We need to look at how we can come together as young people and reason together, because these people, the political elites, let me not mention any name, the political elites are good at dividing and rule. They will go to teachers and speak with teachers, yet teachers, they know what they are ailing. We have JSS teachers who have never been approved for the last 2 years now. We have teachers surviving on 17,000 a month. We have nurses at the county levels who have CBAs that have never been revised. We have also doctors. So we need not to see each other as either activists, as maybe professional leaders. We need to see each other as Kenyans who want a better country. Much as we talk of teaching, there is politics in that teaching. Much as we talk of university lecturers in their caucus, in their organizations, they have their politics. But what do we have in common? Where are the decisions made, decisions that affect all of us? That is where our focus should be. And we as Free Kenya, we want to move to the ground. We want to work with the working community.
Stop.
Thank you.
Stop.
I'm here for you, sir.
Now you're doing what I told you should not be doing. You are regurgitating what people who do the things you do say all the time. And that is something I want you not to do, because you will lose the very ethos of what you're trying to communicate. Because you will now sound like everybody else who says these things. There has to be a structure that you advocate for, that determines how it is you look at the person you want to elect, because we're going to elect.
Sure.
There has to be. That structure doesn't conform to anybody's tribe or anybody's background or anybody's profession. It's a structure. Because the change that you are talking about can be achieved, but this mold that we have has to be broken.
Sure.
If we function within it, then nothing will change. We have a process in this country that, because of our nature and our liking for conformity, we have a very high threshold for accommodating ills. The people we elect tell us in very clear words that they don't give a flying hoot about what we think or what it is that we want. They show us, forget telling us. Yet, we still listen to them. They call rallies, we go to them. But they've actually told you in clear terms, we are going to make decisions that favor us and not you. Now,
the problem is not us who speak and who come out as revolutionists or the agents of change. The problem is the masses. The problem is the Kenyan people.
No, it
let
is
me
not.
say,
It
because
is not.
let me defend my point.
Go ahead,
Siki.
but they're not the problem. Not in the way you're saying
the
it.
problem. Remember, leaders are a reflection of their society.
They
Who
are.
elects them?
They are.
Who elects them?
We do.
We do. And when you come up with a different ideology, with a different story or a picture of how the Kenya will be tomorrow, you will be seen like an alien, because these people want us to continue with the normal traditions of campaign.
When you start, you will be seen as an alien.
Yeah.
People don't really like change.
Sure.
Change bothers people. When you seem serious enough and you are advocating for change that you practice, you disturb people.
Sure.
People like the status quo.
Sure.
We like to go to church on Sunday so that we can be seen in the mosque on Friday that we are law-abiding religious people, and then we steal the hell out of everything that we see in the country. Same people. I'm simply saying this. It is not what we say. It is the mindset that we change. That doesn't happen overnight. Look, people always give Michuki as an example. All right? The reason why the Michuki rules worked, and to understand it, you need to understand the person who took over after him, why it didn't work. Michuki was firm in what he actually said. He didn't budge.
Yeah.
He was threatened by the Matatu associations.
Yeah.
But you know why it worked? The people supported him. They said, we will walk. It is okay.
Yes.
I am simply saying that we talk a little too much, all of us.
Sure.
As we talk for a living, so as we can talk. Okay? Now, there has to be an example that people follow. Boniface Mwangi, in my opinion, is someone who has over time proven, I'm giving you as an example, who stands for something, and he has suffered for it. Okay?
Yeah.
But this grouping of you youthful people don't seem to give Boniface Mwangi very much airtime, do you?
But Boniface Mwangi is a good friend of Free Kenya movement, and we are working together. For your information, since the abduction of Bob and Oyo, we have been coordinating things until the day now we came to find them and got news that former president, the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, had a hand in it. Some of these guys, you know, they are big in quotes and their communications are sometimes imaginary. What I can say today is that Kenyan people are good at defending. They came out in numbers to defend the young people who were butchered and brutally murdered on the streets, the Gen Zs. They came out when Boniface Mwangi was abducted in Tanzania, tortured, and his rights violated. They also came out in numbers to fight for Bob and Oyo. But these people, these very people, are not keen on what agendas, on what vision Boniface Mwangi has for this country. They do not care about why was Bob abducted or even targeted in 2024 when he was abducted at Mulolongo during the Gen Z protest. Those are the things that we stand for. There is always a prize for everything, and as a Free Kenya, we have been targeted several times. Our leaders have been arrested, abducted, given trumped up charges. Bob already has a case that is ongoing at Kahawa law courts on terrorism. So what I'm saying is that Kenyans now need to wake up.
Do you know why they charge people with terrorism in this country? You see, if you just charge them with disturbing the peace, you probably have to let them go that same day.
Sure.
Terrorism allows them to hold them for a much, much longer period.
And it's like what, as I allude to Museveni, cools you down. It is like keeping you in the fridge. It cools your heels. You don't move.
You know, Museveni is a completely different kettle of fish. This man did not get into power through an election.
Yes.
Sure.
Please understand that.
Sure.
And the problems that Uganda had perennially over time are not problems we've experienced.
Sure.
So I tend to be a little less judgmental about him. Same with Brother Kagame on the other side, because their experiences and what led to where they are is different. Let's talk something practical about Kenya and this Singapore story, okay?
Yeah.
I'd rather leave Singapore out and talk about Iceland. To get to that Singapore story, we need an Iceland story. Why? Iceland is a small country of something like 350,000 people.
All right.
The one thing they have in common with us is they have geothermal power. And they've exploited it. Us, we've hardly touched 10%. Because it is cheap energy, it's good alternative energy, industry have gone to Iceland to set up because of their cheap power. And because of that, they are thriving. We have geothermal power. We have it in abundance. If one was talking about moving in that direction, you would exploit this particular power that we have, because we can, and we've seen we can. We would be in a position where we can now think of industrialization. China didn't industrialize because it was doing their own things. Other countries made it the manufacturing hub. That's why it became as rich as it did, as quick as it did, but it had the infrastructure. Geothermal power is infrastructure. Why am I giving this example? The conversations that the groupings you have must have are practical things that tell us how we will get out of the situation that we are in.
Correct.
The politics we all understand and we know. We even know the players, and we even know what they keep doing. That one we have to put it aside. We know it put aside. How do we move out of the situation of debt? How do we ensure that the resources we have, been with the human resource, is utilized to the very, very maximum, the natural resources? These are the things that we must talk about. Because when you talk about them to people, you then give them the imagery of what change can come about, because we're not talking about something we're importing. We already have it.
Thank you so much, Siti. Just to take you back, one is on the issue of Boniface Mwangi. We are supporting Boniface Mwangi, but where the problem comes in is when, as Kenyans, we want to be everywhere. Boniface Mwangi is a very good activist. He's a very good defender of the people. But where the problem is, when he wants now to become the president.
What's wrong with that?
The problem with that is you cannot have a presidential person who is an activist.
Actually, why not?
You cannot. A very good example.
Why not?
Let me just give you an example. You've talked about Michuki. Michuki was a good leader. He implemented those things. If you took Michuki,
for me, let me
just
cut
a minute. If you took,
I believe even the current president has been an activist.
No, let him have his say. Please go ahead.
So if you take Michuki to be an activist on the road, he might not be as good as he was when he was given the leadership position. So what we are saying is, or what rather I am saying is, Boniface Mwangi is a very good activist. Perfect one.
But leader?
But now, in the position of leadership, it calls for different attributes.
Raila Odinga was an activist.
But you see, he was not an activist to the standards of Boniface. Boniface Mwangi is a very good person.
Let's
a
not
very good but let us not
down our
describe
topic to Boniface, but activism is not crime, and most of the young most of the leaders are saying today.
No one has said activism is a crime.
No. He let him land his whatever.
Okay.
I apologize for interrupting.
So my thinking is this. My thinking is this. Let us practice what we are best in. If you're best in this area of the ecosystem, please practice it to the fullest and make sure that you achieve it. Then two, in regards to whatever you're talking about Kenya being like Singapore, this has always been my thoughts, and even as WEPROC we have been discussing this. The president had his agendas or priorities misplaced when he focused on housing. Very good example. You see, City, the president puts billions in constructing houses in the name of creating jobs and opportunities. How many jobs does building a house bring in? They're temporary jobs. Nowadays, you can build a house through the improvised structures, like this new technology.
Yes, you can, or just put pieces together and the building comes up.
Within a week and you're done.
Yes.
You get me? But now for us, we have been advocating for the president should focus on transforming Kenya as a manufacturing hub. A very good example. The other day we saw there is invention of, or there was discovery of gold in Western Kenya.
Discovery of gold, what? That gold has been discovered a hell of a long time ago.
Exactly, but you see, it has not been utilized. You get me? So what we should do as a country is focus on such areas where we have programs and projects that create attraction from outside. Housing does not attract investment from people who have the money outside there.
What framework do
Kenya.
you people have to the very thing you're saying?
Yes.
We have resources. It requires a framework within which
I think
these things can now benefit the citizenry.
What Newton is saying is right on his space. To be a leader, it doesn't matter what space or profession you align with. When you bring a group of people together to advocate for something, you are an activist. I remember back in 2007, I was still young at school, and I followed the politics of this country. President Ruto himself was also an activist, because he could bring together farmers to fight for the price of maize. So activism is anyone who has that ability to bring people together to advocate for a common good, for something that is going to be beneficial.
We agree, gentlemen, but you need to do a little homework.
Yeah,
you need to come back with a framework to tell us exactly how we are going to bring about these changes you speak of, and how the citizenry will benefit.
The change will come if now the professionals that we have, for example, for us, Free Kenya, we are not working alone.
Yeah.
You know, when we want to know how the economy of this country is going to be, we have been consulting the Safina party leader. He's good at that, and he tells us that if this country was strict adherence to the constitution, where we have very well stipulated laws on how our debts should be managed. So we are not just blind telling people let's use this road. No, for a better Kenya, we must ensure that all these groups, all these parties, all these individuals have a convergence point at one day, whereby we will come with our manifesto that is collective.
Let me tell you what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we're out of time, guys.
We're going to invite you guys back.
Thank you.
So that we have 2 hours to discuss this.
Yes. Thank you very much, Newton. Thank you very much, Wambua, for this conversation. Like we've said, tafadhali, jooni tena. And this time around, I think we need a longer period. Probably some 2 hours to have this conversation.